Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to the Blind Gooner. Welcome to another show. Welcome to another video. Listen, I hope you're all keeping safe and well. I hope you're all having a wonderful, wonderful afternoon or morning or evening, whatever time it is in the world where you are. I hope you're enjoying yourself and I hope you're keeping safe and I hope you're keeping well. In today's video, I'm going to talk a little bit about the topic of whether fans should be allowed back to stadiums, because it divides opinion this because of the pandemic. But before I get into that, I do want you to smash a like on this video. I do want you to hit the subscribe button if you are new to the channel, and do share and turn on notifications. Listen, YouTube is having a bit of a mare with notifications, so you will need to set reminders for future videos. Also coming up on the channel, I got a preview at 9 p.m. this evening, so do come out and check that out. That is already up there, so I'd really appreciate it if you could go and leave a like on that video. Also, I've got a watch along on Saturday. That video is also up there as well. The stream is already set up, so please do go and stick a like on both of those videos. Listen, let's get into it. Let's get into talking about fans and whether they should be allowed back into stadiums. And it's a bit of a tricky one, and I'd like to get your guys' opinion on this, so put it down there in the chats. I will read some of the chats out once I've rambled on for a little bit. But yeah, fans being allowed back into stadiums. I actually personally think we should be letting fans back into stadiums. I think that at the start of the pandemic, 6 to 8 months ago, I think it was the end of March, mid-March, sorry, that it all got called a halt. I sort of, we didn't know a lot about the virus now that we know now. Listen, I was a big advocate for lockdowns at the start of this, but now I'm not so sure that lockdowns are the way forward. And you may ask, why is lockdowns important to be? In fact, why is lockdowns important to letting fans back into the stadium? Well, it is, because obviously if we're in lockdown, they ain't going to let fans back into the stadium, are they? But as I was saying, I was a big advocate for lockdowns at the start because, we didn't know, it was a new virus. It was new into the, into circulation. But now we know a lot more. And it's clear to see that lockdowns aren't working. And I'm now of the opinion that we've got to start living with this virus. And part of that is getting fans back into stadiums. Listen, we've seen it in Europe, fans going in small doses, not at full capacity, but in small doses being back into stadiums. And I just think it's a time, it's a bit weird as well, because you can have concerts, you can have lots of people in an indoor venue, but you can't have people in an outdoor stadium, which for me seems a bit weird, because all the scientists and all the government all keep banging on about that the transmission is higher indoors. Well, stadiums are outdoors. Okay, arguably there's people out there that would say that there's some parts of a stadium that is indoors, granted, but if you're having fans in at a reduced capacity, it's not going to make much difference. It's more likely that people will pick up the virus indoors in a concert venue. And I saw that picture, right, at the London Palladium, where, when Arsene Wenger was doing his show, that the London Palladium had people, there was loads of people there. Okay, yes, they were all socially distanced, but there was still a fair number. I think there was I think there might have been, I think it might have been about 400, 500, 600. Now, I'm not entirely sure how big the London Palladium is. I've never been there. I'm not entirely sure how many people it holds or what the capacity is, but it's still an indoor venue. Now, my opinion is that if you can do that, why can't you let fans in at reduced capacity at a football stadium? And I would even be an advocate for, okay, fans can go to the stadium, but you've all got to wear face masks and have your temperature checked, and and to be honest, that's not a hard thing to do, is it? Let's be honest. They're already doing that in some shops. I was in my local shopping centre yesterday, and like outside Apple, you can't go in unless you have your temperature taken. And they could easily do that in football stadiums. You just check everyone's temperature. If you got a temperature, then you're not coming in, which is is a good way of doing it. I think they should do it like that. But let me know what you guys think. Do you guys think fans should be allowed back to stadiums? Because I actually do think now that at a reduced capacity, we should let fans back in. Maybe not in the higher areas. So like, I'm sure you're all aware that in some parts of the UK, it is proper mad, with the virus and that. But maybe in these low areas where it isn't, they should start letting fans back in. But listen, let me know what you guys think. I'm really interested to get your thoughts and opinions on this. I'm not going to bang on about this for too long, but I want to get your opinions in. Put your questions in. Put your opinions in. I'll read them out and I will discuss them. Let's have a look here. 5 people watching. So yeah, I've been banging on about this for only just over 5-6 minutes, but I wanted to come on and do this quick video and get your guys' opinion on it. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Big up Taib. Big up Omar. Omar says, when it's safe, why not? See, the thing is, right, a lot of people have the definition of safe, because it's clear to see that this isn't going anywhere, and this is the problem. This isn't going anywhere. It's going to stay with us forever. Now, whether it comes back or dies out in the future, listen, it's hard to say, but the way it's going at the moment, this is going to come in waves. So, we're having this wave now. We had the wave back in March, April, and you can't keep shutting things down, because what that does is it ruins the economy. It ruins absolutely everything. And without an economy, a country can't function. And the government are pumping a lot of money into these furlough schemes and whatever to try and keep businesses afloat. That's not sustainable. So say this virus is around for the next 10 years. You can't keep doing that over a course of 10 years. And a lot of these scientists keep banging on about that. Yeah, the likelihood is there'll be a vaccine by then. But again, a vaccine is not 100%. There's a vaccine for flu, and that's only 50% effective. So it's, it depends on your definition of safe. My definition of safe is as long as you take your own precautions, with the hand washing, making space for people, and then just keeping your hands away from your face. That's all you can do. But what you can't do is be shut up for months on end, for years on end, because it's not good for people's mental health. And I do feel like the government as well with this is moving into a territory where they're prioritizing COVID deaths and all that over other deaths and other priorities. And slightly getting off topic about the football stadium thing, but it's kind of a bit relevant. But I do think that if you can let people in to an indoor concert, you can let people into an outdoor football stadiums, because it's more likely to spread out. You're more likely to spread out in a stadium as well, because you look at all these massive stadiums. Say if you only have 1,000 people, 1,000 fans. Now, I'm not suggesting that football clubs go back to full capacity. I think that's too much of an ambitious thing to do at the moment. But you see what's happening in Europe. They're letting like 1,000 people in, and it's easy to spread out. If you're in a 60,000 seater stadium and you've got 1,000 fans in, you could easily spread those out and still be socially distant. So I just personally think that this could be a possibility, and I do think that they should look into doing that, because the problem is as well, unless you're going to help these lower league clubs, which it doesn't look like the government are trying to help these lower league clubs. You know, the government are banging on about helping businesses and helping businesses at the heartbeat of communities. Well, football is at the heartbeat of communities, isn't it? Especially at lower league level, maybe not so much in the Premier League because there's so much money involved, and it's the Premier League don't need that kind of financial support because it is a global brand. And, you know, many countries follow the Premier League. But at lower leagues, you know, you're looking at lower League One, League Two, Championship, and even at grassroots level, they need a lot of financial support. And unless you're going to pump some money back into that, now I know like there's been this whole issue with the project big picture, but actually, what that does is, yes, lower leagues will get the money and it will be filtered down from the Premier League to the lower leagues. The problem is that you're handing the big teams the monopoly on making all the decisions. You're handing them authority, and I think that's just going to cause a divide. I just think it's massively going to upset the integrity of the English game. It's going to upset a lot of these lower league clubs. Even in the Premier League, it's going to upset a lot of these lesser teams with lesser statuses, lesser finances. I'm just not a big advocate of that. But in terms of getting fans back into the stadium, I do actually think that the government needs to look at either, if you're not going to let fans back in, financially supporting these lower league clubs, because a lot of them are going bust. Let's be honest. You know, and they're spending all the time on helping businesses, but they're not actually helping these lower league clubs, which are the heartbeat of people's communities. Especially, you know, like I say, it's not so much of an issue in the Premier League because the Premier League is a global brand. The Premier League is probably financially able to get through this pandemic and get through the situation that we're in at the moment. But lower league clubs certainly, if they're not helped, they're gonna fall massively on their face or go bust. So I do think that maybe at lower leagues let a few fans back in, just to kind of help, you know, help things along. And I think they should really look at letting fans in the Premier League too. But you know, it's they're not going to do it. Do you know what I mean? They're not going to do it. They've kind of, the government have kind of are taking this kind of hide and seek approach to the virus. And listen, it's not working at the moment. And you know, it's just kind of pissing everybody off because 1 minute you're coming, 1 minute you're going, 1 minute you're coming, 1 minute you're going. So it's listen, it is what it is. Big up Football HD, Khan. Big up John Wayne, hope you're well. Big up Jamie, said there were 30,000 fans at Finland versus Ireland yesterday. Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. That's what I mean. They're letting fans in, but they should do that at the Premier League. We're the only country. Do you know what it is? We're the only country in Europe or across the European spectrum that aren't letting fans in at the moment. Big up Eddie Guerrero. Playing FIFA 15 because you're nostalgic. Big up to you, mate. I hope you're enjoying it. Omar says not at full capacity, but gradually. Yeah. Do you know what? That's what I said, Omar. Not at full capacity, but maybe down the line. Do you know what I mean? Maybe like maybe so say like Arsenal stadium holds 60,000. Just let in 1,000 or 2,000. You know, you could easily do that. How would that work? Because some football fans are not smart enough. Say if Arsenal played Spurs and we won, we'd be jumping all over the fan. Yeah, but I don't think that would happen, Grant, because I think you would have stewards and stewards and officials there to regulate it. So I think what would happen is, you've seen with concerts, it's working in concerts, isn't it? But yeah, I think, you know, stewards and that would be there to regulate it. I think I don't think I can't see that happening. Sure, you're going to get your probably isolated incidents, but I think they would regulate that. If we don't go into another lockdown, how do we wake up the British public because they're still acting like it's nothing? The problem is, Grant, and I've said this from day one, because it's a fast-moving situation, I don't, you know, yes, there are large parts of the British people that aren't actually taking it seriously, but I'm gonna, you know, in people's defense, because the rules are changing every single day, there isn't enough time to get used to the rules. There isn't enough time to kind of, okay, this is the system, it's in place. Listen, they brought in this three-tiered system now. Probably next week it'll all change again. Do you know what I mean? So it's hard to kind of gauge that. It was easy to gauge with the national lockdown because that went on for like a few months. So it's easy to see that. But these rules have not been in place long enough to gauge that. And it is, a lot of people are just getting confused. Like you see, for instance, like they're saying that, say, pubs can stay open. No, pubs have to close, but then they you know, but they can also stay open if they're serving food. So it's kind of like, it's confusing. It is absolutely confusing. And then also as well, you've got senior MPs breaking the rules and getting away with it. See that MP that broke the rules in Scotland, who travelled on the train with a positive test of coronavirus after she'd received a positive test. Apparently she's facing no police action. So it's hard to kind of label it all at the British public, because when you're getting senior figures breaking the rules and seemingly getting away with it, it's hard to justify this kind of bully thing attitude towards the British public who are not following it. Because if that was a member of the public, that would be an instant fine and possibly a not a jail sentence, but it would be an instant fine of maybe like 10,000, you know, £5,000. But when you're seeing senior figures getting away with it, it kind of undermines the public message. Big up John. John Wayne says 10% of the capacity. Yeah, 10% of the capacity might not be a bad idea. You know, 10% of the capacity would probably be a good situation to do. I actually do think that could possibly work, but they're not going to do it, guys. You know, they're not going to do it because there's too much. You know, they're too much. You know, too much is going on, and you know they're trying to save face, but it isn't going to happen. You know, the likelihood is, and this is just my personal opinion, the likelihood is until that vaccine comes along, we can forget about going into stadiums until that happens. I think that a lot of it rests on that vaccine and whether that's effective or not. So I just think, like I've said on many videos before, and I've spoken to many people about this, that I do actually think that this season is a bit of a write-off, you know, in terms of going to games. This season, you know, you might as well just forget about it. You might as well just write it off and just watch it at home, which kind of makes the Premier League, the 14.99 thing, or the 15 quid Premier League pay-per-view thing, seem all the more farcical. Now, I know that they've got to make money. I completely understand that they've got to make money, but how can you justify charging fans £15 to watch a game when people are struggling at the moment, you know, financially, with, you know, obviously jobs and stuff? You can't justify that. Now, I kind of understand why they're doing it, because the clubs need to make money, like especially at lower league level, and you know, certainly at the Premier League clubs. Listen, we know that there's a lot of money in the Premier League, but they still need to make money. You know, Arsenal are just taking loss after loss at the moment, so they need to kind of make some money back. But I just think £15 maybe being a bit too steep. I've always said along, maybe nine, you know, do the £10. £10, you'd probably get a lot of people. Or if not, do that just until fans can get back into the stadium. And as I've just said, that I can't see that being until a vaccine is found, especially in this country, because the government aren't brave enough to kind of make that decision. They're not brave enough to kind of take that gamble. Listen, they're a bunch of cowards, in my opinion. So until that happens, I've said that what the club should do is charge fans on an individual season ticket basis. So whereas a season ticket will get you every game, or every home game at least, you know, go into games. But I think every club should charge you a season pass, so that you could pay for a season pass, but each individual club is allowed to show their games. Which I know it kind of takes it away from Sky and BT. You could still have the games on Sky and BT, because a lot of people might not go for the season pass because it would probably be too expensive. But I do think that they should have some kind of season pass where every game is shown on their own clubs. Listen, Arsenal have got a good, you know, media player service, you know, with the videos and stuff, so they could easily show their own games. I think that's what most clubs should do. The problem is that Sky and BT have got the monopoly on so much of the televised rights that I don't think they're going to go for that. But I think they should. I really do. Seasonal passes to watch the game, so the clubs get money. Whoever's broadcasting it will probably take a percentage of it. Maybe Sky or BT. But yeah, I do think they should do that, because listen, like I said, fans aren't going to be back in the stadium until a vaccine is found. You know, I don't think it's going to be this season. I don't think it's going to be until next year, next season. You know, this season's just a complete write-off. But it is what it is, isn't it? You know, it is what it is. So listen, guys, I've been going for 24 minutes, almost 25 minutes now. So I'm going to wrap up here. Remember, I do have a preview coming out at 9 p.m. So I've got Simpy joining me for that, so far is confirmed. And then also a watch along on Saturday. So both of those streams are set up. Please go and smash a like on both those videos. We really, really appreciate it. And yeah, listen, thanks to everybody who's tuned in. And yeah, listen, I'm going to wrap things up now, and all take care. And I'll catch you all at 9 p.m.